Ha! Now I've got you. Right into my trap. Ha! No, I've just won. Look, there's no place you can go. I've got you trapped on all sides. Anything you move, I'm gonna just jump and then you're done for. I don't know how you let me have that. I swear, are you letting me win? I feel like you're letting me win. No? Then my other theory is that you have never in your life played checkers before. Wait, you've never played checkers before? How did you get by without ever playing checkers? Alright, I get you. Oh, so it's not chess. It still requires skill. Look, just because all checker pieces are playing under the same rules as opposed to chess pieces where each one has its own moves, doesn't mean it takes less skill. You still have to watch your opponent, see how he plays, analyze the board. You can't play either defensively. You have to be willing to make sacrifices if necessary. And if somebody forces you to make a move, you have to try to use it to your advantage. Frankly, I'm surprised you think it's a less sophisticated game. I mean, it's basically chess, but all pawns. Until one of them gets across the board and becomes a queen. Okay, yes. King. But she acts like the queen. I mean, in chess, the king is just a target. The queen is the warrior. Same thing in checkers. When you king a pawn, or a piece, she acts like a queen. A fighter. No, I'm not trying to turn a checkers game into the battle of the sexes, but, there is something inspiring in chess about the weakest, most vulnerable, most disposable piece becoming the warrior. And like I said, checkers is just chess with all pawns. And they all have the potential to become, warrior queens. I'm getting a little silly about it, sorry. How's your leg? Oh. Thank you. I was just rambling. I mean, it's not something I've thought a lot about. Your leg? How is it? Oh, wow. That is still swollen. You know what? Let's get your foot up on a pillow here. That should help with this swelling. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Did that hurt terribly? Okay, good. If you need it, we've got more laudanum, but it's best to avoid it if you can. In the meantime, I will, make you some tea to help with that swelling. Me? No. I'm not a healer. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I just know what to do because Hetty's patched me up a whole lot in my life. Oh, maybe a little adventurous, but mostly just reckless. my grandmother would have said. And clumsy. No. She wasn't unkind. She had reason to call me reckless. I didn't always listen to her advice. I didn't always stick to the path where it was safe. I don't know how much of that story you heard, but if you're going to be in town, you're going to hear it anyway. After that incident, I was nicknamed Reckless Red. Or just Reckless. Well, the house I live in now used to belong to my grandmother. When I was a kid, I used to go back and forth between my mother's house here in the village and my grandmother's house down the path, the one that I met you on. Everyone from here knows that you're not supposed to leave the road. There's wolfsbane that grows along the path. I don't know who planted it there. It's been there since before I was born. Hetty says that it grows naturally to protect the path between Grandma's house and here. Or my house and here. But anyway, it was good for keeping the wolves and the wolves who walk in human skin away from the town and away from the path and away from my grandmother's house. It surrounds us all. The road, the house, the town. The big, wide outline of the area. I'm sure you must have noticed it's only about 10 feet off of the road in either direction. In a long, usually unbroken line. I'll have to check it. Anyway. Does it what? Work on regular wolves? I don't know. I always assumed so. Maybe we don't actually have regular wolves in the area. I never thought about that. Anyway, I was a kid walking back and forth between my mom's house and my grandmother's house, and there was a wolf, a regular-looking wolf, just on the other side of the wolfsbane. It was such a pretty thing. And he didn't seem mean or aggressive. He wasn't snarling at me from the other side of the wolfsbane. He was just walking alongside me. I didn't feel threatened. I was surprised and a little nervous, but I didn't feel threatened. He was just like this companion. I started chattering with him, at him. It's not like he was talking back. I was a chatty little girl. And I imagined that he was listening. I imagined that he was my friend. The next time I had to walk back, there was a man there. I was more afraid of the man than I was the wolf. But he was kind. He asked why I was walking all alone. I told him. It didn't even occur to me that maybe you don't tell the strange man where you're coming and going from and how often and when. But he never did anything wrong. He never threatened me. He never said anything inappropriate to me. He just walked with me and he talked with me. He listened to me. He asked me about my mother and about my grandmother. If anything, there was something almost paternalistic about him. He never tried to come close to me. He just walked alongside and listened to me prattle on about whatever little girls prattle on about. The next time I had to visit my grandmother's house, he was there again. And he walked with me again. And he walked back with me afterwards. And it became just this thing, somebody I used to walk back and forth with. Where was my father? Oh, my father was dead. He passed when I was very small. You don't think that this stranger was... No, he wasn't. He looked a bit like my father. That might have been why I was so accepting of him. Why I wanted to talk to him so much. He reminded me of what I could remember of my father. Anyway, it went on like that. Every once in a while, over the course of a couple of months, I realized that sometimes he wasn't there. And when he wasn't, there was a wolf. So, although I was young, I was not completely stupid, and I did know. I fully knew. And I just thought that maybe the people in town were wrong about the wolves, or at least about this wolf. I met him in the summer, and the summer turned to fall, and the fall turned to winter. And he expressed that he did not like me walking to my grandmother's house through the snow. That I was too small and too skinny, and it wasn't safe for me to be out in that cold. I didn't think much of it. I didn't know what to say to it, because there was something inherently critical against my mother and grandmother in that. And they both loved me. They weren't trying to put me in harm's way. We had to do what we had to do. My mother was working. My grandmother was sick. My mother needed someone to bring her food every few days. So, I was the natural person to go. A little before Christmas, I came down with something. I had a cough and the sniffles when I was bringing my usual food to Grandma, and he noticed, and he was angry. He stepped right over the winter wolf's bane, and I remember thinking, I thought that he was a wolf. How silly of me. And he touched my face and said that I was burning up. And he picked me up, and he carried me and my basket back home. He let himself into my mother's house and put me to bed, and promised me that he would bring the food to grandmother. And he left me there with a cup of tea by my bedside. I was worried that my mother would be angry at me for not bringing the basket to my grandmother, but I was also a little too sick to care at that point, and grateful to him for taking care of me, for taking care of my grandmother. And off he went. That was the last time I saw him. He went to my grandmother's house and attacked her. He brought her the basket and threw it at her, and he was yelling, and she defended herself. And it was my fault. And, everyone was angry at me. But not because Not because I'd shirked my responsibilities and let this guy take the basket for me and gotten him killed in the process. They were angry at me for letting a wolf in. When my grandmother shot him, when he died, he shifted, and he was a wolf. He was the wolf. And I let him in. And if you tell anyone that I am crying over a wolf, I will gut you. Do you understand me? It will get back to me, and I will gut you. Just so we're clear. All right. So, here. Drink your tea. Feel better. I'm going out.